think I've learned a lot about what mind over matter and the human spirit can accomplish. If you want to badly enough, you can do it. You can do amazing things. You can do things you never thought you were capable of.
In our last episode, we took advantage of a few strategic moves and worked our way through the English Channel to Cameroon-sur-Mer on the northwestern tip of France. In this episode, we wait in port for 9 days for a favorable weather opening to take on the challenge of crossing the infamous Bay of Biscay, otherwise known as the Valley of Death. We were lucky. We had the best possible conditions we could hope for during the worst possible time of year to make this crossing. But even on a good day, the Bay of Biscay is ruthless. The most recommended time to cross the Bay of Biscay is early summer. The least recommended time is in the fall and early winter, starting with the early equinox at the end of August to the end of September. This is when the hurricanes in the Caribbean move northeast and become depressions and hit the Bay of Biscay, bringing with them a high swell traveling thousands of miles across the Atlantic. When they hit the continental shelf and the seabed raises about 5,000 meters to only 100 meters, those long swells get steep and create breaking seas that are very feared among sailors.
Biscay was the one thing that scared me the most, and I was anxious about it and anticipated it, but at the same time I was excited about it because it's such a great challenge. And I know that there are some seasoned sailors out there who would look at me and say, what's the big deal? I mean, you crossed the Bay of Biscay at a bad time of year but in pretty good conditions. But for me, not being a very experienced sailor, this was monumental, and it was scary, and it was torture at times. I cannot tell a lie. But it was also beautiful and magnificent, and it was amazing to be in this body of water and getting through it and surviving it. And you'll see there are times when I did not feel very well at all, but I still appreciated the beauty that was around me and the experience. We're getting ready for our departure in a couple of hours, and we are ready. And I'm excited that today I am feeling more excited than nervous. And I think that's a good sign. Of course, I'm a little nervous because it's the Bay of Biscay, and so we have to respect that. But we have good passage plan, and we think we have a great opening. We've been sitting here for 9 days waiting on it, and now it's here, so we're ready. At times it was a glorious passage filled with playful dolphins, a whale sighting, a full moon lighting our way each night, and bright sunny weather. At other times, the constant pounding of the 3 to 4 meter waves rocked our bodies and our minds. The worst possible wind direction to cross the Bay of Biscay from the north to the south is southwest, because this is what brings the heaviest storms and the heaviest seas into the Bay of Biscay, which makes this one of the most challenging bodies of water. We were waiting for easterly or northerly winds, which would allow us a straight course to A Caruña, Spain. The seas would be coming from the continental shelf to the deep sea, rather than the deep sea into the continental shelf. We departed with calm waters into the Celtic Sea. We had another opportunity to play with the dolphins. But this relaxed, calm atmosphere did not last long. In the beginning, it was pretty smooth sailing. I mean, I actually took a nap out on the deck with the puppies and everything was fine, but I knew that was going to change. I knew better than to think this is how it's going to be the whole way. And I remember at one point I asked Mike, when will we be in the Bay of Biscay? And his response was, you'll know it when we get there. And I have to say that pretty soon after that, the waves started really rolling and getting bigger, and the boat started really moving a lot. And you have to remember that there are much larger, heavier ships than Sea Falcon sitting at the bottom of the Bay of Biscay. And don't think this wasn't on my mind, but yes, when we rolled into the Bay of Biscay, we knew it. And things started rocking and things started getting uncomfortable immediately.
After about 12 hours of the constant pounding of the waves and the never-ending rocking and rolling all night long, by the next morning, the Bay of Biscay finally got the best of me. But I tried to stay positive.
It's a beautiful morning, but it's been a rough morning for me. I've been sick ever since I took over my shift at about 8 o'clock. But it really is beautiful here. The waves are really high and the weather's really nice. It's just very windy, and this is the second day in the Bay of Biscay, and it finally got me. So it's been rough, but I still feel good, and I feel like I'm gonna get to Spain. Still got another 2 days and 2 nights. So hopefully the seasickness will go away. I've pretty much been hanging over this rail on this drum winch This drum winch right here has been my friend. But I have enjoyed the morning. It's really beautiful, and we saw a huge school of dolphins again yesterday, and during the night shift and this morning they've been hanging out with us. Every once in a while we'll see a couple of them in one of these big huge waves just surfing along with us. So that's pretty cool. But, whew, not feeling very good this morning, and not feeling very well, and neither one of us got much sleep last night, so I'm going to let Mike sleep a little because I'm not moving from this spot for a while. So we took down the main last night because it was so windy, and we right now have this small jib and the Genoa and the mizzen up. So we're cruising along, and except for hugging this drum winch and hanging over this side rail here, it's been good. So hopefully all that will get better soon.
We weren't able to get video that effectively shows the size and consistency of the waves. We were too busy holding on and suffering from the effects of them.
So we're into day 3, and it's been rough. It's a pity because it's beautiful. Blue skies and the sun shining. We just haven't had any break from the waves. The wind's going in the right direction, that's all good. But these waves have just gone on the entire time. We haven't had any calm waters at all. And we haven't been feeling very well. Last night we decided to switch to something. That's about all we could do. That's all either one of us could handle. I was sick all day yesterday, and I think I ate half a gummy bear. That's it. That's all I could do. Last night I finally got down half a banana and half a cracker. So things are looking up. Thought I might try to eat the other half today.
We had a 6 to 7 before for more than 40 straight hours, which was tough on both of us. We both suffered severe seasickness and exhaustion. But I made a decision that I would show up for every shift, no matter how badly I felt. With only a two-person crew, we must find a way to function, no matter how challenging the conditions.
Still a lot of wind, very high waves, and we're struggling. But the good news is we're less than 24 hours away. This time tomorrow we'll be in Spain. For me, dehydration has set in a little bit. My legs are all knotty and my arms and shoulders are sore just from holding on. But it's brutal, but we're getting there.
On Thursday morning, after 3 days of constant heavy waves, battles with seasickness and exhaustion, we finally saw land.
Are y'all ready to be there? I don't think I've ever been so happy to see land in my life. It's still far away, but whew, that was a tough one. We're not there yet, but we finally got some smooth water, and maybe we can make it the rest of the way. And I will say this, I'm glad we did it, but I don't ever want to do it again.
You never want to see him skate again?
You ask me today, the answer's no. Ask me tomorrow, and maybe the answer will be different.
Revoir, France! Hola, España!
We were so relieved to make landfall, and all of a sudden, the conditions calmed. A few hours later, however, there was zero visibility. We saw a freighter in the distance, and all of a sudden the huge ship disappeared behind a curtain of fog. A few minutes later, we were inside that same curtain of fog. It was difficult to see the bow from the stern. We were still about 6 hours from A Caruña. We gave sound signals and hoped that most of the other ships had AIS so they could see us. We pushed through, and after 2 or 3 hours of thick fog, it finally cleared, and we made it to Spain.
The body could do crazy things to you, but the human spirit is stronger than the body. The mind is stronger than the body. If you want to badly enough, you can do it. You can do amazing things. You can do things you never thought you were capable of. I made a goal when we were in the Bay of Biscay, and I felt so sick and horrible. I could barely stand. But I made a goal that I would never miss a shift. That no matter how bad I felt, I would always show up for my shift. And I'm so proud to say that even in those times of severe seasickness or heat exhaustion, I never missed a shift. And if you truly fight and believe in yourself and in what you're doing, you can accomplish great things. And to me, just accomplishing that goal of never missing a shift shows me what I'm capable of. We made it through the Bay of Biscay, and I'm pretty proud of that. I would like to know what some of those seasoned sailors out there have to say about their experience in the Bay of Biscay. And I would also like to know what your advice would be. What is your advice for battling seasickness and hanging in there, and when you're so tired and so sick and you have to keep going? We would love it if you'd leave us some comments down below and tell us what you would do or what your advice is, and also what your experiences were in the Bay of Biscay. We'd love to hear about that.
This was the Bay of Biscay on 4 very good days for this time of year. In our next episode, we explore the gorgeous Spanish coastline and sail into Portugal on our way to Morocco. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.